Both governments and corporations collect money from people and distribute it to other people, but it is the individual who buys goods and pays taxes. When the government pays for services such as defense or healthcare, we tax ourselves. Government spending is people spending. The same is true for corporations. Corporations cannot exist without consumers. Consumers pay the salaries and build the factories. All prices are paid by individuals, by you and me. Let's say flight attendants require an airline to hire only union members. They negotiate a contract that sets the price for labor. The flight attendants are happy because they have a good deal, and many consumers see it as a victory for labor over corporate power. But the union did not negotiate with their ultimate employer, the flying public. And it is travelers who pay the flight attendants' wages. The flying public may or may not be willing to pay for the higher wages in the form of higher fares. That decision is made in the marketplace. Sometimes governments place a tax called a tariff on goods from a foreign country. If U.S.-grown pineapples sell for $2 each, and some faraway tropical country is willing to supply consumers with pineapples for $1, it is a threat to the U.S. pineapple industry. Let's say the government taxes foreign pineapples $1.75 each in order to make the domestic pineapples competitive. Most likely the foreign pineapple producer will sell their pineapples elsewhere to avoid the tariff. So that means Americans pay $2 for a pineapple instead of $1. The American pineapple industry and workers benefit from this subsidy. That extra dollar is a hidden tax, the price for keeping out the foreign pineapples. Another hidden effect is that some people don't buy pineapples because they cost too much. Most attempts to fix or subsidize prices ultimately affect consumers, often in hidden and indirect ways. In this shopping district, the local merchants have a monopoly on convenient parking. Since parking is scarce, why not simply raise the price to park? Because that might encourage shoppers to go elsewhere. They first try free parking. Can't beat the price. But the spaces fill with 9-to-5 workers. Shoppers say they don't shop downtown because it's too hard to find a place to park. Enter a simple but brilliant invention. Parking meters that put both a price tag and a time limit on each space. They discourage 9-to-5 employees. People who park too long will be ticketed. And the price of the parking ticket is carefully set as well. If a parking ticket costs only $1, many people would take the risk, so spaces would again be scarce. But if a ticket were priced too high, say $100, some shoppers might not be willing to take the risk of forgetting to feed the meter and would shop elsewhere. Parking meters set a low price but restrict time, so parking spaces turn over frequently. The key is not to make money from meters, but to prevent cars from using the spaces for too long. Meters use low prices to allocate a scarce resource, parking spaces. That's why many meters don't need to be fed at night. Stores are closed, so parking is no longer scarce. What something costs is usually more than the number on the price tag. You've heard stories about government waste. A common one is that NASA once paid $10,000 for a toilet seat on one of its early space missions. But that price was not merely for a toilet seat. It was for the hours and expertise needed to solve the weightless toilet problem. Once we all travel in spaceships, you will certainly be able to buy one at Spaceship Depot for $29.95. Prices influence behavior. Let's say your favorite Italian restaurant gets a new owner, Greedy Luigi. He raises prices and figures he'll get rich quick. A few loyal patrons don't even notice and keep showing up regularly. But others decide to eat elsewhere. Others still eat at Luigi's, but less often. So Luigi doesn't get rich. In fact, his high prices lead to fewer customers. His pricing has to balance his need to make a profit with his customers' demand for spaghetti and meatballs. What would happen if the government required all cars to get 20% better gas mileage? The first answer might be that it would cut our dependence on foreign oil or help clean up the air. But remember, prices influence behavior. People would get more miles per dollar, that's a drop in prices. So would they drive more and possibly buy more cars? Would consumers actually demand more gas? A wage or salary is a price paid for work. Federal law sets a minimum wage for most full-time work. The minimum is usually raised in small amounts. But why not set a very high minimum wage, say $15 or $20 an hour, and nearly eliminate poverty? Because prices influence behavior. A high price for work leads employers to buy less labor. Some employers would hire fewer workers, increasing unemployment. Other producers would raise prices. Higher prices and more unemployment would be the hidden costs for higher wages. Income tax deductions influence behavior. Tax deductions and credits influence taxpayers to finance alternate energy sources, to buy hybrid or electric autos, to rehab buildings in distressed areas, to hire those on welfare, and so on. In Denmark, the sales tax on an auto is over 200%. That means a $30,000 car comes with a $60,000 tax bill. The result? People live close to where they work, use public transportation, and ride bicycles. Fewer people own cars. Prices influence behavior. The same item is often sold at different prices to different sellers. Economists call this price discrimination. When you take part in an auction or log on to eBay, you see prices change. Auctions allow you to say, "This is what I'm willing to pay." You also learn what others are willing to pay. But that won't work at your local hair salon.
Hey, I really like this shampoo, and I know it's marked $10, but do you think I can get it for $8?
Prices at most retail stores are fixed. That's one reason so many people enjoy auctions and negotiating for good deals. Many negotiations feature a seller with lots of information and a potential buyer who knows far less. The unbalanced information favors the seller and often frustrates the buyer. When buying a new car, you don't know how little the seller will accept. Studies show that buyers armed with information manage to buy it for a lower price than uninformed buyers. Pricing is all about information. Airlines sell travel to the same city at a variety of prices, even seats next to each other on the same plane. On a flight from Chicago to LA, a business traveler might be willing to pay $1,200, while Sally will pay only $400 to visit Aunt Joan. If the airline charges $1,200 for each seat, it would lose the Sallys. If it charges $400 for each seat, it will lose the $800 more that the business travelers are willing to pay. So airlines calculate the best price almost hour by hour. Hotel rooms are sold much like airline seats. Prices vary for the same room, even on the same day. Hotels do not want to sell rooms at a discount to people willing to pay full price. Books are produced as both hardcover and paperback. The production cost is similar for both, yet a hardcover sells for about triple the paperback. This too is a form of price discrimination. The hardcover edition allows publishers to charge more for those willing and able to pay more. A strength of pricing as a way to distribute resources is that it relies on human nature instead of laws or police powers. The major weakness of a pricing system is that some, through no fault of their own, do not have the means to pay the price for what they need. A pricing system provides what people want, not necessarily what they need. It might provide plenty of options for plastic surgery in Hollywood, but relatively few choices for basic health care for the needy. Most economies that use a price system also use laws and taxes to redistribute some income to help the poor and elderly, people unable to keep up with the prices bid by those more able to pay. Much politics is about how that redistribution should happen. The next time you see a price tag, remember that paying a price keeps those micro bits of money circulating, and that behind that price tag is information critical to a market economy. Pricing is often a win-win option.